And welcome everyone to another scene for Vampire the Masquerade Independence. This scene takes place quite late into the evening. It's past the midnight hour when Camilla finally arrives at Logan's and Cadbury's haven. Because she spent a good 3.5 hours at least after waking on her physical appearance, turning herself into her masculine guise. And she's stopped off on the way to pick something up. So, around midnight or just after, she'll stroll into Cadbury's house and look around. And Cadbury recognises his master at the moment, straight away. And, sort of immediately is on hand to see what he can do. And she says, "Oh, Cadbury, find a basket, will you?" And where be the other two kindred this night?
Ariana will be through in one of the other rooms. She's in the drawing room.
As for the other kindred this evening, can we simply say that Baker has already called ahead to make sure that some of the wait staff stay out of his way?
Yep. There'll just be Cadbury, and Cadbury is aware of
everything.
Yeah.
Alright, he is a ghoul in that. Well,
he's been to Elysium's.
Okay. Fair dues. Well then Baker will surely be arriving in no time.
Yeah, he's been to Elysium's before I was sired.
Yeah, he's not many, but a couple.
Yeah.
He was Christian's valet, so wasn't his. Camilla / Christian will appear in the drawing room doorway with a small bundle under his right arm.
Good evening. So, why were we supposed to be meeting here?
I thought this was as good a place as any.
She shrugs.
Still sour-faced, I see.
I still think that we could have made use of Jorgen.
I don't think there's any hope for him now.
Yes, that rather is his fault.
Still, don't be too down in the dumps. I brought you a pet.
Oh, really?
I had a little bit of your blood on file from Valentine's Day.
It's a bit of a smack.
And Camilla produces and sort of uncovers the bundle in her arms. And there's the small puppy that seems unbothered by the vampires because it's now a ghoul.
That is quite sweet.
And she kind of looks sort of. I don't really know how to hold these things. She sort of very gently sort of inclines it onto Ariana's lap. And it, does puppy things of, yep, and jumping up.
Huh? And Ariana will stroke the puppy, and after playing with it for a few minutes, will gently lift its tail just to find out something.
It's female.
Aww. Aren't you a cute little Rosie? That's probably the first time you've heard her use that tone of voice.
There's a pursing of Camilla's lips that
So something that she wasn't going to eat anyway.
Yeah. She sort of wrinkles her moustache. The lips wrinkle the fake moustache and what.
Ariana's going to raise an eyebrow.
If I'd known you started talking like that, I would have turned into a dog years ago. When is Baker gonna pop? I'm just imagining Baker just popping out all of a sudden, like, "Hey guys, so."
No, there's kind of a ringing and a knocking on the door, appearing out of obfuscate in front of people. That's just rude.
You'd be surprised how many people seem to do that in New York, and expect not to get torn apart by werewolves.
Yeah. Well, they're rude and they're stupid, and they probably shouldn't be doing that, especially around polite company. Right. The front door, whatever it may be, you're hearing a thunderous knock.
Cadbury answers the door. Are you obfuscated, or are you looking like Baker?
I am currently wearing a hockey mask to obscure most of the monstrous figures, but there is definitely the red eyes behind the mask. He's looking at this particular ghoul. Get your master.
Of course, sir. And Cadbury walks through and comes in and interrupts the puppy scene to excuse me, sir, but there's a gentleman at the door for you. And Camilla turns around and walks into the hallway so that you can see the door.
There you'll see the form of Baker that you know, with apparently he's wearing a hockey mask, a Jason mask actually, but you can see the telltale signs of Nosferatu features poking out.
The man that's standing in the corridor could easily be Camilla's twin brother. He stares at you. Mr. Baker, come in.
Thank you. And he goes ahead and steps in. What do I call you then?
I'm Christian Fortescue.
Mr. Fortescue. I was helping to talk to Lady and the other Miss Fortescue this evening.
Ariana's through here.
Well, then I can speak to Ariana.
And he steps aside and very slightly smirking, and looks over at Ariana.
And Ariana will also be smirking. Good evening, Mr. Baker. She's playing
Good evening, Miss Fortescue. I have some information to relay to you and your sire at your earliest convenience, actually. We may have missed something on our first take through the recycling plant.
Oh, then by all means, please sit down.
And Baker will in fact do so. But now before removing his rather large overcoat and hanging it up, we'll actually go ahead and hand it over to the manservant. Not the man, the manservant. And sit his happy ass down.
Cadbury seems sort of Very professional, stoic even, robot-like, takes your coat and leaves the room.
Like I said, I went ahead and revisited the office of the recycling plant, and I found hidden away, actually, a few photographs, and Baker goes ahead and produces one of them. It happens to be what seems to be a surveillance photo, or a picture taken out of, what do they call it? Somebody who wanted to be caught unawares. A stakeout. Yes, it looks like a picture taken from a stakeout. From an angle on the street, looking up at one particular building or apartment, through the scratches of the face, you can unmistakably see this as Logan. You recognize his figures and that left ear that never seems to quite curl back. Along with these photographs, I went ahead and investigated a little bit more. From what I could tell, this is a woman obsessed. And this is a woman that's more than willing to take her time with this particularly lost childer. Within the hidden compartment, I also found, and you can go ahead and roll empathy on this one, because Baker's lying out of his ass. Within this hidden compartment, I also discovered a certain list, or a certain list of criteria. Apparently, this, whoever she is, this woman, this blonde woman, have to have a certain quality of haven for herself. He wanted it to be strong, wanted it to be strong enough to hold down a raging Bruja, as she went ahead and him apart. And let me roll my 6 dice to lie off my ass.
I wouldn't bother, I failed. It's not a botch, but it's a fail.
I only got 1 success, so...
3 successes. I didn't expect to get this lie through.
Okay.
Using the qualities and the kind of plans and notes that she herself made, I extrapolated a list of 6 locations around Independence, mostly old army bunkers. And Baker will go ahead and forward you a list of different locations. The addresses, as well as common names for these places as well.
Excellent. I'm quite impressed by how much you've managed to turn up, given how fruitless the investigation was before that point.
I believe we are dealing with a more dangerous enemy than we were initially led to believe. This blonde woman seems fairly smart, fairly capable. It could be that we don't get anything from our previous hooks. I believe that if she were any other kindred, we would have caught her by now.
Perhaps.
Christian lights a cigarette and walks over towards the information. I think perhaps she might not go too far away from where she's holding him to hunt, so we'll probably start with the ones that are closer to the town.
That's definitely something that we should do. I'm also trying to get in touch with the Vags and Wanderers of Independence, that being of the Gangrel. And if there is a Ravnos, it wouldn't bother us too much to talk to one of their kind. anybody who's more than willing to send a few people out to these locations just to see and monitor for activity and movement.
Well, we could always ask a few humans to keep an eye out for us.
Oh, sure. If you happen to have the retainers to spare, definitely. Your manservant over there, if he can remain inconspicuous, definitely somebody to throw at this problem. I myself have very, very few retainers that I would trust with such a delicate mission.
Well, it's more the fact that it would be a risk to them. Of course, if we could find a few volunteers.
Well, what were we thinking?
I like the way you say volunteers, my dear. It won't exactly be voluntary, but
Some individuals that are unlikely to be noticed.
well,
And then encourage them to share any information they might have with us. Perhaps if we found a few homeless individuals, they would be less likely to be noticed sitting and doing very little. And then giving us that information.
Vagabonds and wanderers.
Does not have to be limited to the kindred variety.
This is true. This is true. I'd be pulling a trick from one of my earlier days when somebody handed me the starter kit. So we thinking carton of cigarettes and a few maybe small ounces of liquor to keep them liquidated.
something like that. I usually find money suffices.
Oh.
They're handy dandy. They are very, very handy dandy hobo bribes.
Well, they shouldn't be too hard to acquire, certainly. I mean, Cadbury could visit a shop quite easily and pick up several cartons of cigarettes. They needn't be your variety, of course, with a glance to Christian.
No. Seems to be smoking more of out of habit than anything else. Camilla doesn't seem to in her normal guise very much. More of a Christian habit, as if role-playing almost. Well, I can certainly have him do that. He takes out a piece of paper and starts writing down some things. So, we have a few places to start. I think time may be of the essence, according to our information that we gathered earlier. He doesn't have any blood in his system.
How do you know that? Did you discern that from the scene at the recycle plant? I mean, I could definitely see a Bruja like Logan using and burning all his blood in combat like that.
We had a conversation with the source. Unfortunately, he didn't know anything else.
Alright, so for the moment, and this source, you can trust them?
He had more to lose from lying than from telling the truth.
Alright, so from our source, we understand that he is without vitae. If these tortures do continue, then surely he may expire before his sire can break him or mold him or change him as she is wont to do.
If I was her, I'd be draining his blood and filling him up with mine.
Yeah, that's also something you could do.
But he would probably have had more in his system at the time if that was the case.
So she's biding her time for a reason.
She seems reasonably obsessed.
Well then,
to
maybe...
throw all these resources, to throw all of these assassins to finally capture him. There is something fundamentally wrong about her that she just can't let this one shovelhead go.
Well, perhaps if it is some form of obsession or delusion, she has convinced herself that he will come to love her willingly without her blood in him. Which will buy us time. Might not be long. And when she realises her mistake in the matter, it might be interesting for Logan. But it does give us time.
Right. She goes. Baker will go ahead and look at Mr. Fortescue and simply say, Mr. Fortescue, I have a man in the know, actually an expert in tracking. Do you mind if I call him to this establishment to talk about possibly scouting out these locations?
Be my guest.
Okay. Do you have a phone?
Yes, whatever that indicates to an old-fashioned, rotary phone, which still works.
All right. Baker will go ahead to the rotary phone and start to dial a number. This is where we realize that there is no mic on the other end of that thing.
No, there is. I was just waiting for you to ring.
I am ringing.
Takes about 2 rings, and Jason on the other side picks it up. Hello?
Yo, I got your number from some of my contacts. Can you talk?
Yeah.
I'm calling you about a job. How good are you at tracking people or watching things?
I'd say fairly good. Used to be job when I am human. Catching himself.
Right. How good are you at surveilling multiple locations simultaneously?
I can always give it a shot. Not the best at it by any means, but
Okay, and if not you, I'm sure one of your people can do a stakeout pretty well. Because that's essentially what I'm asking you to be able to do, a stakeout for us. Do you mind if I bring you in to my location? Me and my associates are talking business at the moment.
of course.
No, very well. And Baker will go ahead and for you the address to where this meeting is currently taking place.
I'll be there shortly. Click.
Click.
Well, Christian in this case has gone over to this puppy and is sort of looking at it like, what is your power? It's got sort of one finger underneath its chin. It doesn't seem to be reacting to there being vampires in the room, so one can assume it's cooled. She's sort of tilting its very small jaw up with one finger, like, what is your power, cute puppy?
I'm sorry, was that directed at me?
No, I'm
Okay.
talking to the dog that I bought earlier in the scene.
Okay, sorry.
It's called
Baker.
Rose.
hmm Baker, for his part, will go ahead and return to the other two in this particular conversation. Simply say, uh, yeah, my associate, I should say asset, will be attending this conversation in a little bit, but until then, can I bother you, my good host, for a refreshment?
Of course. Do you have a... She puts her hand up. Perhaps you would like to go and choose for yourself. And she sort of indicates to Cadbury, who will come in, and she says, Cadbury, will you take this gentleman to our wine selection, please? A small smile. And he can take you into like the kitchen cellar bit, and there are several bottles of wine, and they have different labels on them.
Oh, Baker will.
Extra virgin, for example.
Baker is not that picky, but he does appreciate a fine taste. Actually, he would look for a bitter wine if you have that.
Yeah.
Yes, old sow, depressed and alone.
Cadbury, it's a quite a fine selection. Something a Ventry would approve of. And Cadbury sort of takes one out, and it's in a wine bottle, and he pours you a glass.
I thank the man for his fantastic service, and yes, I will go ahead and take the wine glass in hand and return to the conversation and enjoy it at my leisure.
Christian's now sat on the arm of the chair next to where Ariana was sat. I presume the dog's still on the lap, and she's just sort of...
Yep.
The soup is about at least 80 years out of date, and this whole house looks about 1940s, 1950s in design. The furniture has got so far in modernisation, then just stopped.
Baker comes back into the room with the wine glass in hand, looks to Christoph and simply says, "You, my good sir, have a fantastic collection."
Yes. Well, we have different types of guests, and so we like to cater for them all, hospitality and all that.
Yes, actually, the different tastes you have below are fantastic. I would assume a lot of people with a lot of many different preferences visit here, and you can cater to them, well, most of them at least.
We all have our preferences. I've always been told that I have excellent taste.
As for myself, I'm a very, very simple kindred. Give thing bitter, leave out the sweetness, all substance, and let me enjoy myself the rest of the night.
Joanna seems slightly amused by this, and the man before you's lips will twitch underneath the moustache. Just a slight smile. Their body language is remarkably similar.
And yourself?
It depends what mood I'm in, really.
Variety is the spice of life. To quote a cliche.
Mm.
I myself have simply settled on one particular taste, that bitterness. Their way, like that way, I'm never disappointed when I'm expecting something sweet.
I think I've always liked something with a bit of edge. Sweet's never been my style. But, we could talk about preferences all evening.
Well, we must do something until our asset gets here.
Yes. I wonder what his preference will be.
Does this place have a doorbell?
It has a it has like one of those old-fashioned knockers.
Oh, I thought it had one of those old-fashioned doorbells where you pull the thing and it
Oh
goes...
yeah, that would as well. I've got one of those in my house. Yeah, it's also got like a little bell that you pull out. Pull it out and then it goes ding on the inside.
I'll use the old-fashioned knocker.
After a couple, very sort of swiftly, he's elderly but he's upright and robust. Man comes to the door and he's like a butler's suit. He says, "Oh, yes, sir. What can I do?"
And Jason's standing there in his fine leathers and a pair of shades at the moment. Very, very dark pair of shades. And pulls out a piece of paper that was crumpled up in his hand and looks at it, looks at the address on the house. I believe I was called for.
Of course, sir. Come in. And stands aside.
Jason
kinda
will, go ahead.
I was just describing, just saying it's kind of like going into a bit of a time warp. Going into the house.
Jason will walk in and take a look around and just let out a very low, very long whistle of approval. Money.
Yeah, it's quite out of place in its setting. It's very British, very 19. I'd say most of the decor is early 20th century, but some of it is sort of 1940s, 1950s. But it's odd walking into a place like this here.
Well, doesn't really seem to phase Jason. Jason's mind's just like, ooh, money. Yay.
And the butler leads you to the drawing room where a gentleman, as pictured, is sitting with Ariana and Baker, who I think you may have met them. I don't know.
He was at our Elysium.
Yeah, so you met Ariana briefly.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you know Baker.
From the Elysium as a creepy guy across the way.
Now he's the creepy guy walking towards you with a glass of wine in his hand, smiling, yellow teeth, sharp canines. In fact, all his sheep are sharp, or at least they seem sharp in this particular light, as he's just going to go ahead and advance towards you and simply say, "Mr. Verdell, it's nice for you to join us."
And Jason will take off his glasses. His eyes are currently glowing red due to a failed frenzy check. Mr. Baker, was it?
Yes, that is my moniker for these nights. Come, come. We have a business proposition for you. Let me introduce you to my associates. This, and he goes ahead and gives a elaborate wave to the beauty. Says, "This is Miss Fortescue, Ariana Fortescue. And this," he goes ahead and gives another little gesture, "is Mr. Fortescue."
Ah, name rings a bell. And he gives an almost clumsy, awkward bow, only having 1 point in due to etiquette.
Ariana will give a rather graceful incline of her head, but she won't get up because there's a puppy on her lap.
Which seems, well, it would seem unbothered by anyway because you're inoffensive to animals.
Yeah.
But it seems fairly happy with vampires being around it. One of those like ladies lapdog things, like a fluffy dog.
These are the Fortescues, mostly of Clan Toreador. However, they have adopted one other kindred into their little family. Unfortunately, this foster childer happens to be missing. And this is why we have brought you into the conversation.
Oh, Logan, right? I had a nice conversation with him down at the Desert Rose some weeks ago.
Logan happens to be missing, and the Fortescues themselves are just distraught over it, and will wish any help or assistance. So naturally, they came to me because I'm very, very good at tracking people. However, this particular case currently requires more hands than I do, and so I have gone ahead and tapped you. We currently have a list of locations that we need to monitor. Now, time is of the essence with this particular case. Everything being so sensitive, we don't want to lose Logan's tracks. He could be out of the city before the end of the week. Do you understand?
But of course.
Now, these locations happen to be old military bunkers, or at least one of them happens to be. They seem to be reinforced structures for one reason or another. However, they've been long out of use. We believe Logan to be interacting on some level with a blonde kindred as well. And Baker will go ahead and produce a photograph of the blonde kindred. This one, actually.
Jason will give out a whistle. Now there's a looker for you.
Yes, yes, she definitely is quite a striking figure. However, you're not here to attract her attention. In fact, I would suggest you, if you see this woman, not approach her at all. She happens to be a quite capable and dangerous kindred.
Jason will nod at that. Good deal. I know when to bow out of a fight.
Exactly, exactly. Now, the Fortescues are here. Should you wish to negotiate some kind of payment between yourselves and them, the work is fairly light. It only requires your eyes and not necessarily your fists. However, if you're more than willing to help us out in that manner, that is a possible other arrangement that you can make.
Christian, mean, I like the way that Baker was like, you know, they're distraught, obviously, when the Fortescues are probably the most quintessential example of the British stiff upper lip you'll ever find.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So distraught, we're playing with a puppy.
neither of them look particularly distraught at all, or or emotional or anything other than just, straight lipped.
They have not already replaced Logan with a puppy. They have not already replaced their affections to Logan with a puppy.
This dog gets more affection than I do, and I've been with Ariane for 200 years. Aggressively, she stares at the dog. She wishes she could strangle.
You got it.
And
now you can never get rid of it.
No, it will live forever, won't it? Oh, God. And Christian stands up and stops fawning over the woman and the dog. And it would be most helpful if we could find Logan as quickly as possible to eliminate the I can't say the word. Repatronisation of him into the Sabbat.
Jason will nod. Well, I wouldn't want to see a fellow kindred go to waste. I will definitely allow you to enlist my services to see what I can glean.
Good. So I think we should start with these. But Mr. Baker says that you have talents for scouting.
Yeah, I've been practicing lately. I'm from Clan Gangrel, if the eyes didn't give it away. And I've been practicing talking to animals as of late. I had a mentor back in New York. Wonderful things he could do with animals. Unfortunately, I'm not that powerful in the ability yet, but they seem to talk to me, and every once in a while they'll even do what I ask.
The man seems to be assessing your general physical prowess. Somewhat of a large guy, I imagine.
Yes, stamina 4, strength 3. You know, he's kind of built. Only 2 appearance though. You know, he might have a slight crook in his nose or something. Just something makes him look average, despite his relatively powerful build.
He walks around, Jason, with us, doing that thing where you walk around somebody and sort of check them out. Could look quite odd with a man doing it. The gestures are sort of mixed.
Jason will raise a brow, but he'll let the old man do it. He's just like, okay.
Well, I can't say you're not good with your hands after what happened in the Elysium, so I have no worries on this score.
Perhaps you could give him a few fencing lessons as well. You always do seem to be short of sparring partners at times.
The thing is that there's so few that are good enough competition. I do like a challenge.
Fencing is a lost art, that's for sure. But I've dabbled a little.
When you say it's a lost art, the man visibly brightens, even a smile. Quite so.
See, a potential pupil for you out of this as well. You still pay more attention to, Her eyes are still on the dog rather than on what's going on. She is paying some attention to what's going on in the room.
Yes, I might be looking for a new playmate if certain other activities elude me. You get the feeling this is a different
There's
conversation.
a smirk. There is a smirk. There is a definite smirk on Ayana's face.
As always, there's a slight domestic going on under the surface. Don't need a lot of empathy to get the impression there is a domestic going on. But not the theme of tonight's roleplay. So let's carry on. I suggest that we move quickly, like I said.
So, if we acquired a few stray cats, do you suppose that they would be useful to you in keeping an eye on these places?
I could definitely ask them for their help. I would not seem to impose my will on them by any means that would cause them harm.
Carry around 10 cans of tuna usually works in any case. Mr. Verdell, if you're quite comfortable with the arrangements of your contract, then we can talk about the more sensitive issues with this operation.
But of course, we'll discuss payment upon completion.
You'll discuss payment on completion. Well, that is certainly up to you, my good sir. In any case, we have 6 locations, and Baker will go ahead and gesture towards the coffee table where the 6 locations are in better detail. If you can handle 3 of them, I can handle the other 3. Should these 2, the Fortescues, have the resources to help out in any way, shape, or form, they are more than willing to do so. We are currently looking for signs of kindred activity, possible feedings, or just general movement of ghouls or other kind. That is all we want to do right now. As soon as we register any type of movement or activity around these places, we will then proceed to do an operation to invade,
very well.
raid the place, see if we cannot find our lost children.
Very well.
Jason will nod and pull out a little notepad from the inside of his leather jacket and start writing down addresses and whatever information on the table is for him from the 3 locations that Baker gives him.
Mm-hmm.
I can have some humans paid to do a similar sort of thing.
And as I said, might be easiest to gain a few poor unfortunates that could use a purpose.
Yes. Well, we know what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's waste no more time doing it.
Right. Baker will go ahead and leave the documents on the table. He has his own copies back at his own haven. He'll go ahead and bid Mr. and Miss Fortescue good night and good evening. Look to Verdell and simply say good luck on your assignment and proceed to walk out of the scene.
And sort of off screen, I'll be paying people to go and stake out some of the areas.
Off screen, I'll be using my influence street to help me out, as well as keeping an eye on one, as well as using my limited knowledge of animalism on the third.
Yeah, so we should hopefully see something. And wait for the storyteller to get back to us about it.
And Jason
It
will
is.
be going around asking multiple animals to do his bidding as well, and actually taking a scene himself, using his first dot and Protean plus his excellent scouting abilities. Wow, actually, he does have good scouting abilities. Just, well, I'm looking at it. It's like 4 dots perception, attentive, and 3 dots alertness.
Damn.
You see everything.
I see everything.
Give that
Anyway.
man some specs and he'll be perfect.
I know, right?
Well, you never know what he might want to learn. Do you know
And,
who's good at Auspex?
Toy does.
everybody still want potents.
Okay, so are we planning on any more in this scene, or shall we?
No, let's close it.
Okay.